And now for the last and final session, I welcome Ms. Shabnam Gupta, the famous interior designer from the Orange Lane, for her presentation titled The Making of Affordable Green Living. She has won many accolades for her work in the hospitality, retail and residential segments. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ms. Shabnam Gupta.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Shabnam and we run a design studio. We are, just to give you a brief account of what we really do, we are designers by profession and innovators by passion. Our constant endeavor is to reinvent and push ourselves to find a non-traditional way of designing. Today, everybody on the dais has spoken about the impact that the economy is going through, the world is going through, the footprint that we need to reduce, etc., etc. I am going to make this a little more about design. I'm going to speak about how we as designers incorporate the day-to-day things that we see and dismiss easily as part of a recycling process and rechange the function aspect of the day-to-day items which are of no use or can be discarded easily. I'm going to be speaking about the making of affordable green living through design. Sorry. Give me a minute to get used to the remote. All around the globe, the world is taking a note of India's economic growth. The country has made tremendous progress over the last 10-15 years. As an Indian, it is something to be proud of, to be very proud of, in fact. However, we must acknowledge if there is any aspect in which India or Indians have not moved forward or moved very sluggishly, it is in the field of environmental impact and taking care of our surroundings. The recent shift back towards the use of craftsmen and women who use their hands is a breath of fresh air after decades of mass-produced machine-made products that come off the production line, duplicated in their thousands. As we start today, I would like to take you back to your childhood days, to when you recycled before it was cool. You recycled out of habit and out of routine, from monthly raddiwalas to daily lunch boxes, to glass milk bottles, to using and reusing of grocery bags. Being Indian has many benefits. One of them is to be aware of the magnitude and scope of using an item to its maximum, and then innovating a way to use it even further. I am sure many of us have grown up either passing their clothes to siblings, depending on whether you were an older child or a younger one, or having grown up in hand-me-downs. Even after that, our moms made sure that this was still further passed on to someone more needy. Growing up in our culture and having a knack for design, which of course was a realization much after in my life, it came to me easily to form an amalgamation of the two, which today has become an integral aspect of my design ideology. In fact, the beauty of upcycling is that it comes in many magnitudes. Whether it is inexpensive materials put into the realms of luxury or already luxurious goods given a breath of fresh air, there are many ways, shapes and forms to the process of upcycling. In fact, upcycling or recycling is something which needs to be a part of our fiber, our thoughts, a natural extension of how we think and who we are. The process of design conceptualization is always in sync with the project narrative, but it is also to be able to breathe, to integrate and to repurpose material is a parallel process. When we sit as a team and ideate, at that point we try to incorporate your day-to-day used products or go scavenger hunting and then deviate or redefine the narrative. It can't be a hardline process. It has to be fun. and the end product has to work with the design brief. When it comes to restaurant interiors, there is a fine line between keeping it upcycle and fun to overdoing it. The balance is the key, which is the essence of our everyday design. Bombay Bronx is a project. It's in Pune and Mumbai. The Bombay Bronx, as the name suggests, is trying to capture the never-die spirit of Bombay, from the iconic dabbawalas and train systems to the Bollywood dreamland. When we were designing, the idea was to try and touch upon all the iconic points that correlate and take us back to Mumbai. Sorry. Okay. So when we started working, we decided to use old dabbas. We sourced them, we repainted them to look like new and had them hanging as installations for lights. Discarded train handles and rods are used for the ceiling, while the flooring is in resalvaged parts of the steel and aluminium plates that are used in our local trains and buses. The center table drew inspiration from the lifeline of Mumbai, the rickshaws. I'm sure all of us at some point have experienced the jibes. They were repurposed out of junk rickshaws and converted into functional and aesthetic center tables, which made us get used aluminium trunks and sew second-hand parts like tail lights, etc. to create our rickshaw tables. Sorry, the pointer doesn't, okay. Tires are the most discarded items. The same characteristics which makes waste tires such a problem also makes them one of the most reused waste material. As the rubber is very resilient and can be reused in other products, we decided to use it as a cheap alternative to create a tall partition without blocking the airflow and the ventilation. The idea was to create a space that reflects the true carefree, chaotic and full of life charisma of Mumbai, while incorporating our daily visuals that we so easily dismiss. This is Jimmy Who. It's an Asian bar that's in Pune. The Asian cuisine restaurant, which has an indie touch, was designed to marry the Asian bar concept without being in your face and obviously Asian. We broke out of the confinements of the norms and brought our upcycle culture to play in this. The entrance, as you can see, greets you with two repurposed scooters picked from a junkyard and painted in quirky colors to add to the drama and give it a new lease of life as a hostess desk. Heading inside, we have a wall installation using a variety of old doors and windows which were sourced from all across Pune, some retouched while some in their original raw state. This installation went on to become a signature for Jimmy Who. Using locally sourced chatai mats as the entrance porch ceiling gives us an idea of how well local and waste material can be used to create useful and aesthetically appealing elements. The bar back wall, being the focal point of the space, is also made up of old wooden reused barrels which were repainted to allow to blend in with the rest of the scheme, which did not only add to the aesthetics but also was a strong feature of upcycling. This is the bar stock exchange in Lower Parel Kamla Mills. The idea was to create a green industrial haven with bursts of colors in the midst of a busy corporate background. Keeping in mind the vibe of the brand, the design is youthful and edgy, with Kavlu wall installation being an important element. The Kavlu tile actually is your typical clay tile which is used on sloping roofs throughout Maharashtra. These were just simply picked up in their second-hand forms, hand sliced to create a unique surface texture around which large artworks of famous street artists like Bansky were incorporated as a tribute. The tiles were used in their natural form and color to complement the surrounding by just changing their functional aspect. A lot of vertically distributed greens gives the space its freshness and acts like a breather amidst all the corporate buildings that surround Kamla. Thus, we ended up creating a fresh green haven in the midst of the city. The process of upcycle and recycle cannot be confined to certain type of projects or briefs. It's important to incorporate the same as a design ideology and not as a mere act of convenience. Following the same while doing the interiors for Kebab Corner at Intercontinental, which came to us as an ethnic yet sophisticated restaurant, we experimented with various materials while still staying true to the needs of the client. Elements like brass vessels, etc. were picked up from different markets within the city where you get second-hand stuff for the ceiling. This metal patra wall in niches. There were 2D, 3D artworks of metal ladles, wooden ladles, which were used with ethnic and earthy elements which contributed in bringing the space together. One needs to understand it is not impossible to create beautiful spaces with only tons of money spent. We ended up using old vessels and second-hand ladles and fused them in a very formal Indian setting. Design is about creativity and not only budgets. Interior design is often plagued by the stigma that the design process is mostly focused on superficial interventions, material lifestyle, seasonal decoration for affluent people. While these aspects may indeed be a part of the design process, it's important that we realize and pursue the potential for a broader and more substantial application. So when we stand and look at a space, it is important to realize and salvage as much as we can. It cannot be about out with the old and in with the new. That's the mentality which plagues us. From fashion to technology, we are constantly looking at the latest and the newest models. Upcycling is only become a fad. While the environmental beliefs are easily identified, the social and personal benefits for both the designer and the consumer are enormous also. This new production and material sourcing method has formed an entirely new industry, both in some small rural village communities as well as boutique niche businesses. While redoing the interiors for Sassy Spoon in Bandra, there were a lot of things which could have been discarded, which we decided to retain. This bicycle was used as a hostess table. We also retained a lot of existing elements like the bread boxes, turned it around, gave it a new lease of life, changed the finishes, reapplied the way it was visually impacting the space. The bar has been completely redone with reusing all their existing old cabinets and just refiguring the way we are supposed to put them. I feel it's important to try and find value for things that are usually considered old or waste and easily discarded. In Lemon Leaf, a small restaurant in Kolaba, the client's need was a space for mixed users, not targeting specific age groups, and yet having a unique feel and connect. We got a chance to do an interesting wall with old books, with artwork. Breaking free from our traditional library walls and purchasing new books, our design approach was to break down this space into a more intimate area. We picked up old second-hand books from Fort and we got them hand-painted. Instead of cladding new bricks and plastering the wall, we used local bricks and used them as a design element by taking strings of different colored threads and weaving them around the brick and using them as a natural clad material without plastering on the same. In terms of products, we experiment by changing the functionality and usability. This cylinder bar stool, for example, is an adaptation of the gas cylinder where the base is formed by a second-hand gas cylinder painted yellow, which supports a leather upholstered seat. The simple Gola light, we've all had Gola at some age bracket of our lives. The Gola light is evolved from the local Gola machine used by Gola vendors on the streets of Bombay. We've taken its base, supported the lamp, created a light, which is a fun light piece to have by a side table. Other than products, the concept is reflected in design and how the space evolves. From customizing lights inspired by dabbas to kaulus being assembled and refixed on walls to adding another dimension of texture to design, recycling is not about an effort to optimize. Going green not only will save costs but also needs to act as a design feature in our case as designers. Our lives are so busy these days, but when something is both beautiful and functional, it earns a place in our lives. It becomes a part of our experience like our homes. While designing homes for interior designers, where we are not part of rainwater harvesting or the larger aspect which come into the architectural aspect, it is sometimes not very acceptable to be able to use funky designs in homes where most people perceive them as formal settings. This is a home of Pariniti Chopra's residence. The design envisioned for this home was an amalgamation of modern meets vintage. Here we have along with having a very sophisticated vibe, also used a lot of fun, quirky elements. There's a lot of green emphasis within the house and outside. The fine line between the two is very, very diminished. We've used old telephones and converted them into lights and integrated them as part of one of the spaces. It's an old sewing machine which has been redefined in its function and become an integral part of the new design and its new lease of life now. Sagar Villa, a home where traditional art and innovation reside. Here the client being a landscape designer by profession, one of the parameters which was kept in the foremost was the emphasis on green. Here we tried to use a lot of existing materials which the client already had. The entire ceiling is done with the reused wood which came out of the house itself, and we distressed it further to give it a vintage look which was used for the ceiling. This is an old family heirloom ceiling which was again incorporated as part of the design brief itself. This is a vacation home in Goa. The client wanted a home that exuded a serene vibe with warm, engaging spaces. We've taken wooden blocks which are used for block printing and created a wall installation out of that. On the site we had a makeshift space used with corrugated sheets. When the project was over, we dismantled that entire space where the staff quarters were constructed, and we reused the corrugated tin sheets in one of the guest bedroom ceilings. Following our ideology of logical interiors, the entire furniture set was retained and repurposed to go with the new design. Pepper fry, the idea of origami birds, taking me back to fun childhood days, making best out of waste, using waste paper to create beautiful installations of birds in a quirky retail store setting, which otherwise is a mundane or a run-of-the-mill entry point. I have one more minute left, so I'll go through this quickly. This is a corporate office that we constructed where we've retained the original sheets. It's in the middle of an industrial warehouse. It's a corporate office of PVC pipes, and we have reused all their second pipes to create installations, whether it's in the washroom or added greens as a very strong focal point within the space. We've created an entire installation on the roof of one of the floors with their existing pipes. As designers, we have the ability, and we must make every effort to increase the awareness of what the design is promoting. Many designers make an effort to use environmentally conscious methods in the production of their design. In an industry that is used to consuming large amounts of material, there are a variety of options available to designers who are concerned with sustainable production processes. From recycled materials to carbon offsetting, it is becoming increasingly viable for designers to offer their clients solutions that leave little or no footprint on the environmental impact. In some projects, we aim to reduce the impact and promote social awareness, as our design projects include social spaces which are frequently visited by the masses. Use of LED lights is a certainty, while the materials used are naturally and locally available, not only reduce the impact but also promote local businesses. Every designer is now a member of the global community. Increasingly, interior designers are called upon to articulate the benefits of their work to the individual, the group, and the larger community, and to find a balance of the greatest good in meeting competing demands. As I conclude, the making of affordable green living is all about your own belief system. It is about innovating and to be able to conserve and protect the environment. The idea is to be able to curb the need for more and more endless consumption. It is not just a fad, it needs to be a way of life. As a designer, it is our duty to ensure the least intervention and impact on nature, whilst being able to redefine the object and reinvent its new function. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shabnam. I request Mr. Narendra Yashwan, Director, Saint-Gobain Research India, to kindly come up on the dais and present a memento to Ms. Shabnam Gupta as a token of our appreciation.